How's it going, everyone? We're here to take a look at the top skins that have been submitted to the workshop this week. If you're new to these videos or just need a refresher, there's a lot of skins and only 8 or so make it in a week. Sometimes more than 8, but 8 is the typical number. So what's up with all of these? Well, these are the best submissions to the workshop so that have potential to make it in. It does not mean any of them will ever make it in, or all of them, or any at all. So yeah, we're just gonna be doing a review of them, and starting off, we've got a cute head wrap for you. This one is the Froggy bandana head wrap, and yeah, it's just really kind of funny. Bandage head wrap, I think. I said bandana. It is a burlap head wrap. So there you go. It's just kind of a silly skin. I don't know what the chances of something like this actually getting in, but it's definitely a thing I could see people running around in Rust wearing, for sure. Next, we've got some high qual sets for you, starting out with the Royal Face Mask by Hugo here. And yeah, it kind of has like a, you know, if you look at it, it kind of has a Versace kind of thing going on, but with guns. I like it. I think it's pretty cool. And yeah, it's always cool to see different kinds of things. Next, we have a very beautifully sculpted set right here by Oasis. It is the Stone Guardian set, and if you look real close, man, the whole thing looks like it is a mesh with stone pieces in it and then cobbled together with scrap pieces of metal, and it's done so well, and it just looks really cool. Probably doesn't look very practical. I mean, honestly, all this would really do is weigh you down, probably. I mean, if you want to drown, you could wear this real easily. But hey, you know, maybe a bullet might ping off a rock or something, right? Next, we've got a very bright, colorful splash of color here with the multicolored set by Micro. And as you can see, there's kind of like a honeycomb with a rainbow color there, and then we've just got a splash and drip of the face mask and more of the honeycomb on the back part of the metal face mask right there. Next up, we've got our deployables. Starting out, we've got kind of a creepy little sleeping bag for you. This is the Toxic Explosion sleeping bag by Y9J. Man, whew, sometimes dyslexia hurts one way or another, guys. Here you go. And yeah, it has kind of like this metal wrappings around it. I'm not so sure if that would be the most comfortable sleeping bag, but it's definitely something that looks like it would fit into the world of Rust. Next over here, we've got a box for you. And this one has kind of like a little hazard thing going on with it, and that's because it is the hazmat storage box. As you can see, the whole thing's kind of wrapped in the hazmat material with some duct tape and so forth. Definitely something that fits really well into the Rusty world. Then we've got a continuation in the Molotov set by Azeroth. As you can see, that we've got the box right here, and yeah, it's got some mollies around the side, a skull and crossbones, lets you know it's death, and so forth. Then over here, we've got a very similar kind of idea of a box where it has kind of more like a hand-drawn art. Well, I guess they both are artwork. So there's a wooden Molotov storage also. But I guess it looks more cel-shaded, or maybe even like, yeah, I don't know. It just has a very different art style to it, but same pretty much idea. Then over here, we've got some boxes for you, and well, you know, they're called the brick boxes, but let's, you know, they look like Lego, but they look different enough. Maybe it might be all right. We have some Lego looking brick kind of stuff put in to the game already, but I don't know. We'll just have to see. It's always hard when you're selling it rather than a free Twitch drop kind of thing, which is the other kind of Lego-y thing I'm thinking of. Then over here, we've got what could be the last addition to the graffiti storage boxes, or it might not make it all. Helk did say the set is pretty much done, but again, pretty much done could mean I'm putting in the last few pieces, or I was done when I told you. So I don't know. I didn't get the specific on that one. I don't know. So one way or another, here is the coal box. Then over here, we've got a few of doors for you, starting out with the bright side wooden double door. And yeah, it's got a sun and moon, and then on this side we've got some rain over a rainbow with the sun coming out. So there you go, some nice little weather. Then moving on, we've got a couple sheet metal doors for you. This one here is the lava door by Cubist. Then over here we've got a waffle door for you. This is definitely on the funny side, but it's sculpted really well. I mean, the honey and the blueberries don't look too flat or anything like that. Definitely a fun, goofy door. Then over here, we've got some more Molotov action for you with a neon look. This is the Molly Metal door by Kiva. There you go. Then we've got a garage door for you that looks nice and reinforced, and well, it is the reinforced garage door. There you go. It has kind of like a, I'd say kind of like an Arctic military kind of vibe going on with it. It looks like something that would match the Arctic base a bit, if you ask me. Over here, we've got garage door that literally looks like it is melting. This is the Meltdown Garage Door by Kenzie. Then over here, we've got something on the more artsy side. It is the Vintage Garage Door by Jessen. Has a very nice mosaic kind of look to it, still keeping the original look of the garage door. Definitely a cool looking design. Then over here, we've got a armored door for you. This is the Zen Labs High Security Door by Morpheus. And man, putting a wheel on a door is very hard to do when it is a flat surface. And I think this was done really well. It looks quite nice. And then on the back here, you've got a little exit sign to go with that. Always nice to take advantage of the two different sides on the doors that allow it. And then over here, we've got a continuation in the From Hell set with the armored double door. And yeah, it just kind of has like flames up the side with kind of like the runes and so forth. They're kind of bouncing around in there. Some chains hanging off of it. And there's that. And you can see, you know, one side has the horns and one side has spikes only. So that's a nice little difference there. We'll go ahead and kill the lights so we can see the glow on it. Both sides pretty much, you know, similar glow. Then we've got the Zen Labs. Take a look at the exit sign. Then if we pop on over here, this thing is one bright garage door for sure. A little neon signs. Then we can scoot on down to this guy. Looks grumpy. And then our last glowing thing, of course, is going to be the box here. And there it is. Alright, so let's check our weapons and tools, and starting off, we've got a hammer here, and this one looks like to be a continuation in the Gothic Warlord set by Novarom. So there you go. Then we've got a couple rocks for you. This one is the Desert Biome Rock by FaZe. Definitely has like a nice little sandy ore look to it for sure. You can see a lot of people liking. Then we've got a glowy looking rock for you. This is the Twilight Rock, and it actually does glow. There's two different versions, a glowing and non-glowing, so go ahead and just show the glow right now. There it is. Then we can go ahead and pop on over to a tool set for you. And yeah, this one kind of has a very kind of like meteorite kind of look from it. This is the Hatchet of the Nomad. And of course it has its matching pickaxe to go with it. Definitely like the wood carving, little details to the straps there. And then we've got a jackhammer for you. Not too often we always have jackhammer skins come through. And this one, of course, has a very nice steampunk look to it. I can see a lot of people really loving. And then it also has kind of like this look to it like it might glow. And of course, that's because it does. And the glow is just really, really cool on this. I mean, look at that. Alright, so next up we've got a sword for you here. And yeah, as you can see, it kind of has just like a very handcrafted look to it. This is the Obsidian Sword by Kua. Then we've got a couple bows for you. This one should look pretty familiar. It is the Toxic Wolf Bow, as of course part of the Toxic Wolf set. Always a set that does look like it might glow, but it doesn't, so this isn't something that would give you away at night, which is nice. Then we've got another bow for you, and this should look pretty familiar to you as well, as part of the Velocity set by Syl. Go ahead and draw that string. There we have it. Then we've got a crossy for you, and this one is the Little Aliens crossbow. So you can see there's various little aliens all along it there. You can see them lighting up. And there's that load. There we have it. Next, we've got Nyoka for you, and, well, this thing looks all kind of jacked up and smeared, and that is the Clay Ioka. So there you go. It does look all smeared and kind of like handmade, and it just kind of fits, really, the Ioka. I don't know how well clay would really hold together, but one way or another, definitely a funny one. Then we've got a Pumpy for you, and this one is part of Little Ranger's cardboard set. So you can see this whole thing is made out of cardboard and duct tape, so to say. Love the staples kind of going across in it there, too. As you aim down here, you've got like a little recycle symbol. And yeah, just definitely a very fun looking pump shotgun. Next up, we've got a couple pythons for you, starting off with this one here, and it has kind of a very like tech but old look to it. I know, it's very interesting. This is the Chrysalis Python by Debsky. Aiming down the sights here, you have kind of like a little goldenness bronze sight going on. Next, we've got another Python for you, and this one is the Punisher Python version 2 by Mr. Vrona. Definitely has a nice little color grade, kind of going from like a yellowy orange to a more greeny yellow, which is nice. Aiming down the sides here, you've got kind of a little bit of a yellow orange versus the greeny yellow, as I mentioned there, for the sight. There's that reload. Then, like I said, we do have a couple pythons, so here is another one for you. This one's more on the colorful side. This is the Python Crystal by White. Definitely has a nice unique grip there with kind of like, well, the crystal. Then aiming down the sights here, there's a very bright kind of like aqua tip to it. And now we've got another python for you. I said a couple, right? This is the Bullseye Python by Ghostface. Or GX Face, I guess. GX Face, is that it? Aiming down the sights here, there's kind of like a lighter red to it, with 2 X's there on the side, and there's even like kind of like a little spider web on the hammer. Then we've got a sap for you, and if you haven't noticed already, it is part of the JPEG set. So of course it is the JPEG sap. Aiming down the sights here, you've got a black middle sight against the gray. And there's that reload. Then, last in this group, we've got a SAR for you. It's stockless, obviously, as you can see there. It is the Antique SAR by Vitalik. Very fancy looking. The whole thing kind of looks like it's made out of cut stone or marble. And when you aim down the sights, you've got this elegant marble lion face staring back at you. Next up, we've got some MP5s for you, starting off with this one right here, and it's very rusty. It fits right into the world, looks all worn and torn. This is the Spent Oil MP5 by Depreciator. Aim down the sights here, you've got a yellow versus the rest of the iron sights. And there's that reload. Next, we've got another MP5 for you. Don't ask me why I said it that way. This one looks all splattered up with paint. This is the Shattered MP5 by Vase. And yeah, I'm not so sure why the bottom half of it looks so weird and crusty with paint there. But the top of it has this kind of like flaking thing going on with it. And you can see on the back, it's kind of just like kind of falling apart. Has a very beat up look to it, which I think always fits into Rust. Next, we've got another MP5 for you, and this one is on the artsy side. This is the Reaper MP5. As you can see, there's like skulls and ghosts, all sorts of things going on there on the back. Aim down the sights, though, not really much going on. Pretty wasted, unfortunately, there. Then we've got some AKs for you right here, starting with a very interesting AK. This is the solar-powered AK-47. And yeah, you can see all the wires coming across. There's the solar panels. It's definitely very creative, working in something that, you know, fits into the world of Rust and definitely looks quite unique. Aiming down the sights here, you've got kind of like a light going on, which I think is cool. And it actually is a glowing AK. So if we kill the lights here, you can actually see there's a little red glowing light right there. And when you aim down the sights, there's a red glowing light on the back, but not on the sights, as you can see pretty far away from there. But yeah, probably not enough to really give you away, I don't think. Then, next, we've got another AK for you. This one here is on the fancy side. This is the Clean Slate AK by Milo. And yeah, man, this thing is definitely very mean looking. Some beautiful sculpting going on there. Then we've got another AK for you, and this one is all made up of circuit boards. This is the Hack Attack by Odyssey, and just the detail to this one is beautiful. Definitely very cool. Aiming down the sights here. there we have it. Next up, we've got a few more AKs for you, and by a few, I mean an entire row. And this next one here pretty much looks like it's made out of Play-Doh. This is the handmade AR by Multi-Hat, and I mean, you can even still see like fingerprints and stuff. Those are some pretty big fingerprints, though, I have to say, they're compared to your actual fingers. But hey, definitely a silly one, especially when aiming down the sights with the smiley face. Next, we've got another AR for you, and this one is a nice, serene, beautiful landscape on it. This is the Sakura AK, and you can see that there's a beautiful Sakura tree with those cherry blossoms. Aiming down the sides here, you've got another cherry blossom for you. And there's a reload. Next, we've got a very spotted up one for you. This is the Wild Safari AK-47, and yeah, the whole thing just looks like a cheetah, pretty much. Definitely very nice looking AK, though. It has lots of details to it so that the cheetah print doesn't just take over. Aiming down the sides here, you've got a nice orange tip against the metal. And there's that reload. Next, we've got another AR for you, and this one says Pew Pew. It is the Pew Pew AR by Fora. I mean, pretty straight up name there. You can see it has like a little face and eyes and all sorts of little other details to it. When you aim down the sights, there's a little heart. Definitely a very bright looking AK. Next, we've got another one for you, and this one is all mechanized. This is the Mechanical Beast by Anathan, and yeah, man, this thing is just very brutal looking. Look at that. There's teeth and wires and all sorts of things going on. Aiming down the sides here, there's that creepy monster looking thing. And speaking of creepy monsters, we've got one more for you. This is the Sniff Sniff AK, and I don't even know what, but man, it's a giant nose with teeth staring at you. When you aim down the sights, there's just a nose. This thing is weird and creepy. It's awesome. You gotta love that. And I hope you didn't think we're done with ARs, because they are more. And this one here is the Ivy AK by Uproar. As you can see, it's covered in thorns and vines and a few little red flowers as well. Aim down the sides here, you've got kind of like a purpley versus the green. And there we go with the reload. Then we've got a very bright looking striped up AK for you. It comes in two different versions. There's a grayscale and the neon. This is obviously the neon, and when you aim down the sights, there's a little paw. And you can kind of see the tigery stripes through there as well. Next, we've got another AR for you, and this is the Fire Phoenix AR by Hewok. Definitely a cool translation from the deployables to a gun. I love how the Phoenix really pops off the side of it there. Aiming down the sights, you've got a little flame. And there we go with that reload. Next, we've got one more AK for you, and this one is pretty silly looking. This is the Wild Plasticine AR, and well, yeah, the whole thing just kind of looks like it's made out of plasticine. You can see the fingerprints and stuff on there too, and yeah, it's got just little crazy little monsters going on there. Aiming down the sights here, you've got kind of a slug-looking guy. Let's go ahead and do that reload there, and there we have it. Then, next up, we've got some LRs for you, and this is a pretty juicy looking one. This is the Watermelon LR for you, and yeah, there you go. I mean, hey, nice addition to the set. Looking down there on the ring, it actually looks like the inside of a watermelon on the outer ring, and then you've got that watermelon-y red on the tip. Then we've got another LR for you, and this one's all kind of caution-y. This is the Hazardous LR by Moonfighter, and as you can see, it's got this caution tape stripe down the side. Then it's got kind of a nice flat color to it with a very clean kind of cut look, which I think is quite nice. Aiming down the sides here, you've got a big black ring around with the yellow tip, and the two other tips kind of have like a white look to them. It looks almost like it glows, but it's not. And there's that reload. Next up, we've got a LR for you, and this one is all meaty for you, and that's because, well, it is the Meat L96. continuation from Duck's meat set. This thing is all sorts of bone and meaty. Aiming down the sides here, just some bone for you. Definitely a very visceral looking, but cool L96. Next, we've got another one, and it's more on the kind of like, I don't know, flames and so forth side. This is the burned out L96. Aim down the sights there, you actually have some art, which is nice. Always cool when they include something like that. Then we've got a satchel for you, and you'll see this one right here is all circuit boardy. This is the explosive C3. Always gotta love that, right? Then, moving on, we've got some rockets for you. This first one is a rehash of the Lighthouse rocket launcher by Sadis, and I think it is done really well. It's got some really nice details to it. Textures have been really updated nicely. It is definitely a very nice looking rocket launcher for sure. And if we go ahead and reload it, if it would reload, hello, there it goes. There's the reload on that. Then we've got another rocket launcher for you. Yes, rocket launcher after rocket launcher, right? And this one here is the Blue Flame rocket launcher, and it has this kind of like blue kind of like crystal look to it. Definitely a bright looking rocket launcher. There's that reload on it. And lastly, we've got another rocket launcher for you. And this one here is pretty amusing looking. The whole thing kind of looks like it's made out of stone tower. And this is, well, the Rocket Tower rocket launcher. So, there you go. Also has kind of a bit of a cel-shaded kind of look to it, which I'm sure you guys noticed. But there we go, everyone. That's all the skins. There's our traditional rocket hit to a tree, and it survived. Thanks for watching. Tune in next time to check out what skins actually made it in on Thursday. As always, stay rusty. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.